Why are you trying to win back someone who proved they could live without you? Think about that for a second. Not emotionally, logically. She saw your love, she felt your loyalty, and she still walked away. That wasn't an accident, that was a choice. So ask yourself, what exactly are you chasing? Is it her or the version of you that didn't feel this broken? You're stuck in a loop, checking her socials, replaying every conversation, wondering what you could have done differently. And every time you feel that urge to text her, what you're really doing is handing over more of your power, more control. You're feeding her ego and starving your own self-worth. But here's the harsh truth most men avoid. The more you chase, the more she runs. Women aren't drawn to desperation. They're drawn to mystery, to discipline, to presence. A man who needs her validates her ego. A man who doesn't destroys it. And that's where your healing begins. Not in trying to convince her to come back, but in becoming the version of yourself who never needed her in the first place. This isn't about turning cold. It's about becoming calculated. Stoicism isn't numbness, it's power. It's emotional control under pressure, and that's exactly what you need right now. Because chasing her, that's emotional chaos. Becoming stoic, that's strategy, that's strength, and that's what separates broken boys from dangerous men. So today, we're going to break it all down. 10 clear, brutal lessons rooted in stoic wisdom and dark psychology. Not to manipulate her, but to rebuild you, piece by piece, layer by layer, until the man staring back in the mirror is unfazed, unreadable, and completely untouchable. This is Stoic Blessing. If you're done being a prisoner of your feelings, if you're ready to rise from the ashes, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I rise in silence. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Stop begging, start becoming. Let's get something straight. Begging is not love, it's not devotion, it's emotional debt. And every time you plead, explain, over-text or over-apologize, you're sending one clear message. You see her as your source of value. That's why it doesn't work. That's why it pushes her away. You're not making her feel wanted. You're making her feel superior. And no woman stays with a man she doesn't respect. Think back to when things started falling apart. You probably felt the shift. She became colder, less responsive, less invested. And what did you do? You overcompensated. You tried to fix it. You poured more energy in, thinking if you just showed her how much she meant, it would bring her back. But it did the opposite. You became predictable, software, emotional, and whether she admits it or not, she lost attraction. Here's the truth most men avoid. Once she senses she has the upper hand emotionally, the dynamic is broken. Not because she's evil, but because nature doesn't respect weakness. Women are drawn to grounded, self-contained men. Men who don't fold under pressure, men who walk away when respect is gone. Begging tells her she's the prize, and you're just lucky to be in the room, that your self-worth depends on her approval, that without her, you collapse. And that's the fastest way to kill any last bit of attraction. A stoic man doesn't chase what disrespects him. He doesn't make noise when he's hurt. He pulls back, rebuilds, and becomes a version of himself that would never need to beg again. When you detach, you shift the entire dynamic. You stop being reactive. You start being unreadable. And in that silence, she starts to wonder. She checks your profile. She notices you're not watching her stories. She waits for a text that never comes. And whether it's next week or 6 months from now, that silence will echo. But that's not your goal. That's just a byproduct. Because you're not becoming to get her back. You're becoming so you never lose yourself again. This isn't about revenge, it's about rebirth. The man who begs is dying. Let him go, and let the next version of you rise, quiet, focused, untouchable. If you're done making decisions from a place of weakness, if you're ready to take back control, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I walk away to rise above. Number 2. Emotion is a weapon. Master it or be destroyed by it. You think the pain is the problem, but it's not. The real problem is your reaction to the pain. It's the crying at 2 a.m., The impulsive texting, the stalking her profile, the endless spirals in your head. That's not heartbreak, that's lack of emotional discipline, and until you get that under control, she owns you, even in silence. She might be gone, but she's still calling the shots. Every time you overthink, every time you fantasize about getting her back, every time your mood depends on whether she watched your story, you're handing her the remote to your emotions. And here's the cold truth. If someone else can control how you feel, you're not a man, you're a puppet. Stoicism isn't about shutting down emotions, it's about mastering them. Emotions are powerful, but when they run unchecked, they destroy you from the inside out. A Stoic man uses his emotions strategically. He doesn't react, he calculates. He doesn't lash out, he observes. He doesn't drown in heartbreak, he turns it into fuel. That's dark psychology 101. The person who stays calm in chaos controls the outcome. Think about that. If she expects you to fall apart, and you don't, you win. Not because you're playing a game, but because you've evolved beyond her expectations. And that shakes her more than any love letter ever could. Mastery isn't pretending you don't care. It's feeling everything, but acting on nothing until you choose to. You don't chase closure. You don't chase clarity. You become the clarity. When you stop letting emotions dictate your behavior, you become untouchable. She can't manipulate what she can't read. So when the pain hits, don't react. Sit with it, observe it. Let it teach you, but never let it lead you. That's the difference between a man who breaks and a man who builds himself back better than before. If you're done being a slave to emotional chaos, if you're ready to become a weapon forged in control, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I master my emotions, they do not master me. Number 3. Pull back to pull ahead. Here's what most men don't understand. Silence isn't weakness, it's leverage. Distance isn't running away, it's power. The moment you pull back, everything shifts. You stop feeding the dynamic that killed the connection in the first place. You stop showing up like an emotional ATM. You stop giving her access to the version of you that was easy to take for granted. You've been taught to fight for love, to prove yourself, to keep trying. But in doing that, you made yourself common, predictable, always available, and nothing kills attraction faster than predictability. What's rare is valuable. What's constant becomes invisible. That's why your words stopped working. That's why your affection stopped meaning anything. It wasn't that she stopped loving you, it's that she stopped feeling pulled toward you. Pulling back creates mystery, mystery creates tension, and tension creates attraction, not artificially, but biologically. When you disappear, her brain starts asking questions. When you go silent, she starts wondering what changed. And it's in that wondering that regret is born. This isn't manipulation. This is reclaiming your gravity. You're not pulling back to punish her. You're pulling back to protect your energy, to guard your peace, to reset the imbalance. The man who can walk away without a meltdown is the man who owns the frame. And if you don't own the frame, you don't own the relationship. You don't announce your absence. You don't make a scene. You vanish, quietly, powerfully. And while she's busy trying to fill the silence, you're busy rebuilding, upgrading, evolving. Because this isn't about getting her attention, it's about becoming someone who doesn't need it anymore. If you're done being predictable, if you're ready to become the man who moves in silence and commands respect, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. My silence speaks louder than my words. Number 4. Reject validation. Approve yourself. You gave her too much power. Let's be real. Every smile, every compliment, every "I miss you" became your fuel. Her attention validated your worth. And that's exactly why you collapsed when she pulled it away, because your sense of self was outsourced. You weren't building self-esteem. You were borrowing it, and the moment she left, the loan got called in. A Stoic man doesn't depend on someone else to feel whole. His value isn't up for debate. It isn't negotiated in texts or measured by someone's affection. His value is internal, unshaken, no matter who stays or leaves. When you truly understand that, the entire game changes. You stop chasing closure. You stop needing reassurance. You stop obsessing over whether she still thinks about you. Dark psychology teaches this simple truth. The person who needs the least controls the most. When you stop looking to her for validation, you remove her influence. That's when she feels the shift. When your energy says, "I don't need you to see me, I already see me," it hits different. That's not arrogance, that's self-approval, that's power. She might move on to someone else. So what? That has nothing to do with you. You're not here to compete for her attention. You're here to build a life so aligned, so full, so complete,